All right, babies, so we ended up with a part two because for whatever reason, my draft decided to save it as a 5 minute when I said 10. So welcome to part two. All right, so the broth is all done cooking, but we're not going to can it until tomorrow for two reasons. I don't have time because I have dinner guests coming over and my jars aren't ready. But it clearly states that I can reheat this. So let me turn you around and I'm going to show you. I've got a little bit left in one of the Instapots. I put everything over into a crock pot. And then I have the one that I had on the stove. So I want to show you the difference between the two. All right, so this is what's left of the Instapot that went for 4 hours. This, minus the vegetables and the bones, is the stock pot that we had for 8 hours. I have removed all the meat and the carrots because I will feed that to my dogs. Now, that's hot as Hades. This has cooled down. You want to do a taste test? Okay. I guess it helps if I clean off the lens. All right, so we're going to take just a little sippy sip. I'm going to stir this up because the fat has settled. Nobody wants that. All right, let's see what we get. This is the Instapot. They're the same exact recipe, just so you know. They all had the same exact things in them. Let me see what this one is. That one definitely needs salt. It's so hot, Jesus. Oh. I burnt my lips off. All right, I think they both are going to need salt. So here's what we're going to do. I'm not going to touch them until tomorrow because I have to reheat everything to put hot liquids in hot jars. We have to pressure can these. So I think we are going to play with these a little bit before we can them up. I'm going to say they're basically pretty even Steven at this point. It's a little bland for my taste. And I had more bones in there than I needed to, and those bones had a lot of meat. So, in any event, we're going to play around with it, and we're going to see what we can do. So, y'all come back tomorrow. We'll finish off part two for that, and we'll doctor them up, and then we'll pressure can them. Okie doke. All right, see you tomorrow. Good morning, good morning. It's officially the next day. So, I am in the middle of processing. We're actually going to do two different ways this time. So I ended up doing some quarts and some pints. This requires pressure canning. You cannot pressure can quarts and pints together. They take different times. So I did 4 quarts for my girlfriend because she likes quarts. They are in the pressure cooker now. I think those have to go for 30 or 40 minutes. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look. And they are at 2, which is 10 pounds of pressure. When that gets up to pressure is when the clock starts to tick. The pints will take 20 minutes at the same pressure. So let me show you the pints, because what I'm doing is I've gotten them done, but since I can't pressure them at the same time, you can't let them get cold. So let me show you what I did. In my crock pot they went. So I'm getting 4 pints and she's getting 4 quarts. So I basically just got the hot water that I used to sterilize the jars with because it's already hot. Stuck it back in there, putting the lid on it, and I'm leaving it. The only thing that I basically did to the broth is I added a bit of salt, probably about a tablespoon to each batch, which was large, and a little bit of kitchen bouquet, which I've showed you guys that before just to deepen the flavor a little bit. That is all that I did. Now, I'll go ahead and give you a heads up because this will be a separate video. That is the amount of broth that I have left over between all the things that I've processed, the 4 quarts and the 4 pints, okay? What we are doing is we are reducing this down. Can anyone guess what I'm going to do with that? Anybody? Anybody? All right, so basically what's going to happen is, you guys have seen me do this before a few times, is when everything is done, I'll show you the finished ones, and then we'll start a new video and see if anybody can figure out, what am I doing with that extra broth? Why am I reducing it down? Leave comments down below. We'll see if anybody can figure it out. All right, so let me show you the finished product. Look how beautiful that is. Those are the quarts. My pints are over here. I will tell you that the quarts are deeper than the pints, and the quarts are more of what came out of the Instapot. So, now you saw what we got. These now have to rest for at least 24 hours without us messing with them. So, there you go. That's the end of that video. Y'all come back for the next one, see if you can figure out what we're going to do with that other broth.